Sean Diddy Combs' former girlfriend testified about drug-filled hotel nights. While on the stand, she described how Sean Combs would orchestrate these nights and sit there and watch her have sex with multiple partners. Here are some highlights from day 18.
When, if ever, did Sean use the word freak when communicating with you?
He used it various times in our relationship.
And in what context, if you remember?
To describe me.
To describe you?
Yes.
Can you explain what you mean?
Like, he wants his freak.
And when he said he wants his freak, what did you understand Sean was telling you?
That he wanted me to be wild and sexual.
During hotel nights, usually, what, if any, protection would you and the entertainer use during the intercourse?
None.
Why none?
Because that was my partner's preference.
And who was your partner?
Sean.
Did you ever ask Sean if the entertainers could wear condoms?
Yes.
Once or more than once?
More than once.
About how many times do you remember asking Sean if the entertainer could wear a condom while you were in the hotel room?
I can only recall twice.
And those 2 times, how did Sean respond?
He responded dismissive and kind of just almost, I don't know, just in a sense like guilt tripped me out of it and that it wasn't something that he wanted to see.
What was Sean's tone when he had these 2 conversations with you in the room?
A bit condescending, like just wanted me to move on from the subject, like as if it just wasn't going to happen, so like stop asking.
In either of those conversations, did Sean explain why he did not want the entertainer to wear a condom when having sex with you?
Yes, he said like he didn't want to see like a rubber while he was watching.
Do you know whether any conversations between you and Sean about whether an entertainer could wear a condom was ever recorded?
Yes.
Do you know how that conversation was recorded?
The iPhone was recording me.
Why was an iPhone recording you?
Because Sean liked recording me and entertainers.
Video or audio recording?
Video?
So, have you seen this video?
Yes.
Why did you feel like you needed permission from Sean to have the man who was having sex with your body wear a condom?
I don't know. I'm just still trying to process even that.
After you and Sean had sex during a hotel night, what would typically happen next?
As far as,
So, if you just finished a round that we talked about yesterday with an entertainer, and then you and Sean had sex afterwards, typically, what would happen next?
he just wanted me to stay like that and have sex with all of that around us.
Now, after you and Sean finished having intimate time together, what would you do before starting another round? Either with the same entertainer or a different entertainer?
I would just take a shower and get ready for the next one.
Would you put on the same outfit or a different outfit?
Different outfit.
In a typical hotel night, about how many rounds of the kind of sex that you talked about yesterday with the entertainers and then with Sean would you go through?
I would say every entertainer was different. Maybe sometimes it would be 1 round with one, or it could be up to 3 with another.
Who decided how many rounds you would do in a single hotel night?
Sean.
Who decided how many entertainers you would be with in a single hotel night?
Sean.
Did you ever get tired during these nights?
Yes.
Who decided whether you could stop when you were tired?
Sean.
When you got tired and wanted to stop, how, if at all, did you communicate to Sean that you wanted to stop?
I would just give like subtle cues that I was tired. Just that I would say I was hungry, or I would lay down, or I would just kind of give him little faces.
What kinds of faces?
Just small gestures.
And when you gave these subtle cues, did Sean react the same way each time?
Yes.
What was his reaction each time you gave him one of these subtle cues?
Just like he would say, like, "You're not getting tired on me, are you? Let's finish strong." Or, "Let's end on a high note."
Why didn't you just say you were done and you wanted to stop?
I don't know.
Jane, what would Sean give you, if anything, To keep you awake to keep having sex with the entertainers.
Ecstasy.
About how much ecstasy would you usually take in a single hotel night?
A lot.
How many times can you remember crying after one of these hotel nights?
2 times.
Would you tell us about the first you remember, please?
I just remember that there was a night that I thought we were going to have, like, just a date night, and it would be one-on-one, and he said that there would be an entertainer, but just for a little bit. And I hung on to those words of just a little bit, meaning that it could be just something quick, and he said it would be just something quick. And what was something quick ended up just being like 18 hours of that. And I just remember it was like 3 rounds with this guy. And like at the very end, I just remember Sean like saying he had to leave. And I just like was so high and just feeling so lonely and just like sad. I didn't want him to just like leave me like that, feeling like that. And I just started crying and I just was masking it and just saying that I was missing him. But really, I just went through all of that and was feeling terrible that he was going to leave me alone. And I just remember that it was just a bad memory.
Jane, between May of 2021 and October of 2023, did you have any conversations with Sean about what he would like you to text to him?
Yes,
About how many of these conversations do you remember?
a good amount.
Were they all essentially the same?
Yes.
Can you tell us about them, please?
Just like me saying that I wanted a guy and just to kind of play up on that.
Sorry. In this conversation, were you telling Sean you wanted a guy?
Yes,
And why were you telling him you wanted a guy?
because I knew that would turn him on. And he was saying, like, be explicit. Tell me what are you going to do? Like, what do you want? Something like that.
Who was saying be explicit?
Sean.
And when Sean told you be explicit, what did you understand he was telling you to do?
To text these type of things.
When you sent these text messages, did you want to be having sex with other men?
No,
Then why did you say you did in these messages?
because I wanted to turn my lover on.
Ms. Gavin, can we please pull up what's in evidence as Government Exhibit A 104-4 and jump to page 12, please? And could we zoom in on the top left message? Jane, who sent this message?
I did.
Who did you send it to?
Sean.
What's the date?
November 9th, 2021.
And what did you write to Sean on that day?
I said, I'm horny for you.
Why did you send him that?
Because that's how I was feeling for him.
Who did you want to have sex with?
Sean.
Can we look at the next 2 messages, please? How did Sean respond?
What you want to do, be explicit.
What did you understand Sean was telling you when he wrote be explicit?
To play in a fantasy talk,
What kind of fantasy talk?
where I would talk about other men and their privates or just something sexual like that.
Ms. Gavin, can we please pull up pages 13 and 14 side by side? And can we zoom in on the left 2 middle? Now, Jane, you don't need to read this out loud, but did you write to Sean, I want to Paul's while you give me that strong game?
Yes,
Why did you write that?
because I know he would like that.
Did you actually want to do this?
No.
We can take this down. Thank you. And now can we please go to the top 2 texts on the right? Jane, I'm not going to make you read this. I'll read it. Did you write to Sean? Like that's the only and last I'm supposed to have. F***ing a next to me while a one is inside me.
Yes, I wrote that.
Why did you write that?
Because I knew it would turn him on.
Did you actually want that?
No.
Jane, what's the date of this text?
September 17th, 2023.
So, is this a little less than 2 years after the texts we were just looking at where you were talking fantasy talk?
Yes,
Who sent this text message?
I sent this text message to Sean.
Would you read it for us, please?
I wish we could jog this back to when we first started dating and just getting to know each other. Ever since I opened Pandora's box, I've never been able to close it. One night of fun turned into the entirety of our relationship. And now it's all I'm expected to do and get called for. It's hurting me because I'm so much more than being loved in the dark in hotel rooms, doing things that make me feel disgusted with myself. I'm confusing your lust for me as real love. My heart is really in this, and it's breaking. I don't want you to play this role. I don't want to play this role in your life anymore. It's dark, sleazy, and makes me feel disgusted with myself. I feel it's the only reason you have me around and why you pay for the house. I don't want to feel obligated to perform these nights with you in fear of losing the roof over my head. I don't want to keep feeling like that anymore. I'm crying as I type this. We just need to talk like adults and figure out where we'll go from here.
Jane, I want to ask you a few questions about this message. First, when you referenced why you pay for the house, at this point, where were you living without saying the address?
I was living at the new place that he got me.
The new place where Sean was paying the rent?
Yes,
And for about how long had Sean been paying your rent as of September of 2023?
I think about 5 months or so.
And when you wrote, I feel it's the only reason you have me around and why you pay for the house, what were you referring to?
I was referring to these hotel nights.
And when you wrote, I don't want to feel obligated to perform these nights with you, what were you referring to?
These hotel nights.
And, I am sorry, Jane. Were you going to say something else?
Just meaning that I started to feel obligated here, that I had to perform. And just feeling obligated to him at this point.
At this point in time, what were you afraid would happen if you refused to perform in these hotel nights?
That he would take it away.
That who would take what away?
That Sean would take the house away.
Can we zoom back out, please? How did Sean respond to your text?
He said, "Girl, stop."
What do you remember happening at the sobriety party? Could you walk us through it, please?
I just remember that it was like this typical routine, except I didn't take anything, and I was in an outfit, and I was with Sean, and the room was decorated, and I was just getting ready, and I remember it was like the first guy, then a second guy, and then after the second guy, I went to the bathroom, and I just was not feeling well.
What happened when you went to the bathroom after having 2 entertainers in this night?
I threw up.
What happened after you threw up?
Sean came in, and I told him that I had just thrown up. And he was like, "That's good then. You'll feel better now that you've thrown up. So let's go. Let's go because the guy is here. The third guy."
What happened next?
And then I was with the third guy.
How did it feel to do that sobriety party without drugs?
I hated it so much.
How did that experience compare to all of the other hotel nights you did while using drugs?
It was just, I was just disgusted. I was just repulsed. I was just so mad at myself for doing that. I just deeply regretted that.
Jane, during the sobriety party, did you have sex with the first 2 entertainers in front of Sean before you threw up?
Yes,
And then did you have sex with a third entertainer after you threw up?
yes.
How did you meet him in person?
I scheduled for his flight and trip to Los Angeles.
Where did Cabral tell you he was coming from?
Atlanta?
And where were you bringing him to?
Los Angeles?
What, if any, conversations did you have with Sean about how you would get Cabral from Atlanta to Los Angeles?
I told him that I would set it up. I would arrange for his travel and his flight to come meet us in Los Angeles.
And so, what did you do after telling Sean that?
I booked Cabral's flight online
And how did you pay for that?
on a website called Expedia.
Did you get reimbursed for that or no?
Yes,
Who reimbursed you for it?
Sean.
What happened the first time you met Cabral in person after flying him to Los Angeles from Atlanta?
I remember when I first met Cabral, he was just really sweet and we had just like little butterflies. It was the first time that I did something like that. And meeting him in person and he was he was cute and he was like just as nervous as me and really sweet and just like cute and nervous.
What did you mean when you said it was the first time you did something like that?
I mean, to contact an adult star and meet them in person.
What did you and Cabral and Sean end up doing that first time you met in person in Los Angeles?
Objection.
I can rephrase, Your Honor.
All right.
What happened that first time that you met Cabral in Los Angeles?
I remember we were making small talk but before he arrived, I remember I was clear to him that it was me and my partner, so he wouldn't be surprised or anything.
So you had told Cabral before he came to Los Angeles that your partner would be there as well?
Yes.
And how had he responded to that?
He was fine with it.
When Cabral arrived, what hotel was this at?
I believe this was the L'Hermitage in Beverly Hills.
And what do you remember happening after Cabral arrived?
I remember we were just making small talk, and he was really happy, and for the most part, it was doing kind of the same routine.
And when you say the same routine, what do you mean?
I mean, where I would be in an outfit, and then the orals would come out, and I would dance and begin to do foreplay on Cabral, which eventually led to sex.
Where was Sean throughout that whole routine?
He was right there watching with me,
And what was he doing?
masturbating.
And what, if anything, do you remember him saying?
He was really happy and saying positive things.
After that first meeting with Cabral, about how often did you see Cabral for hotel nights?
I would say I saw him a good amount of times.
And each time you saw Cabral, who invited him to the hotel nights?
Myself.
And did you? Well, let me back up. Why did you invite Cabral to these hotel nights?
Because I knew my partner would want an entertainer for the night, or if I knew that was kind of where our night was going, I would often suggest Cabral.
Why would you suggest Cabral?
Because he was familiar to me.
To be clear, each time you suggested Cabral, did you want to have sex with Cabral?
No.
Then why did you suggest him?
Because he felt like a safe option for me.
In what cities do you remember having hotel nights with Cabral?
I remember Los Angeles, Miami, New York.
So after you tuned in to being that kind of person in this room, what do you remember happening with this man on your birthday in 2023?
I just remember we were much quicker. I was much quicker with this person. I did not know him. He felt more like a stranger to me more than anyone. And I just felt that it was just even more of an invasive moment because it was my birthday. And I didn't want to do this on my birthday. And I just remember I just sat there. I was already on the couch. I just wanted to get in position to have intercourse so that we could just get it over with.
What do you remember happening when you were sitting on the couch getting ready to have intercourse with this man?
I remember I asked for a condom.
Who did you ask for a condom?
Sean.
Where was Sean when you asked him for a condom?
Behind the man.
How did Sean respond when you asked for a condom?
Very upset. He was very upset.
Do you remember what he did?
Behind this man, I remember Sean giving me these really bad looks, these really dirty looks, like shaking his head, like, you better not ask for a condom. Like, I remember those words out of his mouth. I could just read it.
What words did you hear out of his mouth?
You better not ask for a condom.
What else did you hear him say?
Objection.
That was it.
Overruled.
I'm sorry?
You can answer.
Was that the only thing you remember him saying?
Yes.
How did you react when Sean said you better not ask for a condom?
I just tried to play it off like I didn't see it. And I took it in I take his energy in I didn't react to it because right in front of me was this man in between my legs getting ready to have sex with me, and I didn't want to sour the mood.
Why didn't you want to sour the mood?
because I just didn't want my partner unhappy with me.
Jane, do you need a break or are you okay to keep going?
No, I'm okay.
Okay. What happened next, if you're ready to tell us?
I remember I got the condom. I remember I was able to have that condom moment at least.
Do you remember how you were able to get the condom?
Sean gave him a condom
How did that happen if he had said, you better not ask for one?
because he could see that I really wanted one and that he said what he said, and he turns around, grabs it, and gives it to the guy. And then the guy has sex with me with a condom.
And what was Sean doing while the guy had sex with you with a condom?
He hated it. He was like walking away. He was just so disinterested. Even while all this was happening, he just seemed so disappointed in what was happening. And it just made me feel really, really bad. And I just wanted it to be over.
How did that end?
With the guy finishing, I can't remember where.
After the man finished, what do you remember happening next?
I just remember we switched rooms.
So after the man finished having sex with you, did he leave?
Yes.
And then you said we switched rooms. Who switched rooms?
Sean and I moved to a bigger suite.
In the same hotel?
Yes.
And what happened when you got to the bigger suite?
I remember Sean was. He shifted his energy. He was more loving. He was celebratory. He had a surprise for me at the table of that suite. And it was cake, flowers. I think there was another bracelet, and just drinks and balloons. And he made that suite look really nice for me when we got there.
And what happened after you got to that suite?
After that, we just had that rare bit of alone time. And then, I don't even know how. I don't even remember. But then, Cabral comes.
What were you and Sean bickering about?
I was bickering about just how I was done with this, and I didn't want to do this. And why, every time I see you, this is happening, and something along those lines. And I just remember he was just super defensive and saying, we don't have to do any of this stuff. I don't need to do any of this. And we don't have to do this at all. And just defensive.
In the context of this conversation, what was this that you were telling Sean you did not want to do?
That I didn't want to do any more of these nights with these men.
And when Sean said that you don't have to do it anymore, how did you react?
I was just listening, but in my heart, I knew he didn't mean that.
What makes you say that?
Because it still happened that night.
So, what happened after you left that club where you were bickering?
We went back to his hotel room.
And on the way to the hotel room, what, if anything, did Sean give you?
Ecstasy.
Did you take it?
Yes.
And what happened when you got to the hotel room?
I was back in an outfit and in a robe, and Sean said that he had something coming.
And what happened next?
I think I remember greeting this man. I said hello. He walked into the living room, and we all just made small talk.
And when you say this man, do you mean the man whose photo we were just looking at in Government Exhibit 2A603?
Yes.
You said you walked into the living room. Were you in a hotel suite?
Yes.
What happened in the living room with Sean, you and this man?
We were just having conversation, and I remember we were just trying to have some sort of chemistry. But I could feel that this wasn't going to be a thing, and I was kind of trying to dance a little bit. I let the man touch my leg a little bit, and I just wasn't into anything about this guy.
So, what did you do?
I took Sean to the bedroom, and I talked to him privately.
What did you tell Sean in the bedroom?
That I couldn't do this.
How did Sean respond?
He responded agitated. He was just agitated that he was just like, okay.
And then what happened next?
And then, at that point, it's just me and Sean, and we're just together. And he's like, just kind of like, I can't wait to see what you have for me next, or what would make this better, or what would we do? What surprises do you have for me, or something? And in that moment, I just wanted to make it up to him that he wasn't going to have like this night that he envisioned. And so I messaged Cabral.
Why did you feel like you needed to make it up to him if just earlier that night you told him you don't want to do these nights anymore and Sean said you don't have to?
Really hard question to answer. I just, at this point in my relationship, I just knew that that's what would make my partner the happiest. And I just wanted to give him what he wanted, and I wanted to make him happy, and I wanted to just have a good, upbeat night with him.
At this point, was Sean paying for your rent or not yet?
I believe so.
And at this point, had you had any conversations with Sean where he had referenced your rent in connection with these nights?
Yes.
Jane, can you read us the top 2 messages, please?
I said, I need a breather and a break from you. This doesn't make me feel good at all. Your true intentions with me are in plain sight. Hope you two have a great Thanksgiving.
What were you referring to when you said, I need a breather and a break from you?
I was referring to the pressure of these nights and performing these nights.
And what were you referring to when you wrote this? Doesn't make me feel good at all.
I was referring to sex with other men.
And what were you referring to when you wrote your true intentions with me are in plain sight?
I meant that I was starting to realize all that he called me for and wanted me for.
What's the next text you sent?
I said, don't say you. Can I curse?
You can read it.
Don't say you miss me and you're bored over there. Just don't say me at all. You don't deserve me.
You can take that down. And, Ms. Gavin, can we leave this up and can you please play for us Government Exhibit A 10411A? Jane, what's the green bubble that we see there?
I believe that's a voice note, a message.
From who?
Sean.
To who?
Myself.
Ms. Gavin, if we can play that from the beginning, please. Jane, how often did Sean speak to you using the tone and language we just heard in that voice note?
Often.
Throughout that message, Sean was referring to she. What did you understand he was talking about when he said she?
The woman he was dating.
Is that the same woman who you had seen on Instagram?
Yes.
How many times did Sean call you crazy when you tried to raise concerns about having to do these hotel nights while other women he saw were treated differently?
He would call me crazy all the time.
How did it make you feel when he talked to you that way?
It would make me feel confused. Just down.
Let's go to pages 7 and 8, please. Can we zoom in on the top 2, please? What did you say in response?
I said, ain't nobody just come to work out. She's been there for days and posting the studio, etc. Stop lying. Funny thing is, I don't even care.
What's the next text?
I don't even care who you lay up with.
Why were you saying you don't care who Sean is with?
I said I didn't care about who he was with. It was what they were doing that made me jealous. I wanted that time with him. That's what I wanted from him.
What's the next text?
I said, you've been saying you miss me and want to see me.
Let's go to the next ones, please.
I say, but you're lying. You just want the hotel.
What were you referring to when you said you just want the hotel?
I was referring to, he just wants to see me have sex with other men.
Why were you bringing up hotels in a conversation where you're talking about Sean being with another woman?
Because I'm trying to put it into perspective for him that there's just an imbalance here. There's just an imbalance.
An imbalance between what?
How I was treated versus how they were being treated.
How were you being treated?
I was being treated like I was the one who had to take this on. I had to take all of this on. And they didn't.
Can you read the next text you wrote, please?
I said, it's not me you miss or want.
What were you referring to there?
I was referring to me addressing that. It's not me that you want. It's these nights.
Let's go to pages 10 and 11, please. Is this the end of this same conversation on November 22nd, 2021?
Yes,
What did you write?
I said, off this.
What did Sean write?
Have a blessed day.
And then, what's the last text you said?
I said, goodbye.
And then, on the other page, the next text you send. What's the date of the next text?
The date is November 24th, 2021.
And can you read the bottom text for us?
I say, baby.
Do you remember what happened between, I'm sorry. Can you read the third text?
Yes, I said. FaceTime me. What are you doing?
Do you remember what happened between the argument we just read on November 22nd and these different texts on November 24th?
Yes?
What happened?
Sean FaceTimed me and calmed me down.
What kinds of things did he say to calm you down, if you remember?
I just know generally whenever we would have these types of back and forths, that whenever we would FaceTime, he would say that,
Objection. She's talking about this time.
That's fair. Why don't we get a new question? Ms. Comey,
Jane, about how often would you have fights with Sean about not wanting to do hotel nights and then have a FaceTime with him after the fight?
it would happen often.
Each time you had a FaceTime with him after the fight, did essentially the same thing happen?
Yes,
What happened?
I would get cooled down. I would just calm down. He would say all the things that I wanted to hear. He would say that it's not what I'm thinking, he would just downplay whatever it was that I was freaking out about, and that he loved me and that he missed me. Can't wait to see me. And it would be done.
Let's go to pages 8 and 9, please. Would you read the next text you sent him?
I say, I didn't want to do all of that on my birthday. You knew how tired I was, and you knew how tired I was. But I kept a good attitude about it. I come home to see you on a trip I've been dying for, to the only place I've been wanting to go back with you. I'm off it because it's just making me cry. It's been 2 years of waiting, and I'm just frustrated and feeling used.
What were you referring to when you said you knew how tired I was?
He knew that after 3 guys that I was tired.
And when you said the only place I've been wanting to go back with you, what were you talking about?
I just wanted to go back to where I fell in love with him. And that place was very special to me.
Where was that?
Turks.
Do you need a break, Jane?
No.
Can you read how Sean responded to you?
He goes, let's not do anything anymore. Sorry, tired of you throwing sex in my face. Whack. I can't handle you comparing yourself with another woman. That's why I lie in the first place. So let's just be friends.
What did you understand Sean was referring to when he said, tired of you throwing sex in my face?
I understood that he meant any time that I would bring up these hotel nights.
Let's take that down. Can you read the next thing you wrote, please?
I said, this is the one time I'm comparing because it was my birthday. Not just any regular day that we have. I thought we would do something different, like a trip.
Can we read the text on the next page, please?
I said, so you're on this trip and breaking up with me. That's how you want to make me feel.
Can you read the bottom text, please?
I said, I would never make you feel like how you're making me feel right now.
Let's go to pages 10 and 11, please. Can you read the top text, please?
I say, I don't throw sex in your face constantly. But the type of nights we have are nights that require everything out of me. For 30 to 40 hours straight. I figured on my birthday you would switch it up for me. And what you're doing right now is exactly the switch up I asked for. How are you treating me is so cold. And you're really making me feel used right now, and now you're breaking up with me. Is that really what you want? Be clear now so I can see things for what they really are, and I can see you for who you really are.
What's the next text you sent?
I said I asked you for the truth so I wouldn't feel like this. And you lied because you knew it would be f***ed up.
What did you write at the bottom?
I say. And to add to your lie, you want to break up.
Go to the next page. Can you read the text you wrote on the next page, please?
I said, I feel terrible right now. I have been nothing but patient. No headaches, no stress. Give you whatever you want, whenever you want it. I don't stress you about anyone or anything. I show up when you want and how you want it. You're the only man in my life, and you're the only man in my life, and I don't entertain anyone else. You gave me a tall story lie about being stressed and why you would not take a trip right now. And you still lied, and you took someone else on a birthday trip to the destination I've been asking for years. I've sat back for over 2 summers and holidays and countless trips and still gave you zero stress about it. I say, choosing to lie to me on my birthday feels like you tried to trick me. You could have just been honest and it wouldn't have been such a blow to me. Why am I the one who always seems to get the shorter end of everything and get less of an experience? But yet, I feel I'm asked to do the most. And now I'm seeing you on this trip and can't help but feel taken advantage of and taken for granted and lied to. This was the time for you to show me that love and all the things you promised me you would do and start doing and be more like. You said I'd start feeling everything more now, and this is how you started.
Let's go to pages 12 and 13, please. How did Sean respond?
He says, let's be friends because I can't take this part. For real. I'm done with you comparing yourself to someone else. I treat you good. And if you don't feel so, let's just be friends because I'm tired of these long texts telling me what I'm doing wrong.
What did you write in response?
I said, how is treating me good telling me for years we're going to go on a trip and ask me for patience all these years, then lie to me on my birthday and take someone else where I wanted to go? How is that treating me good? Every woman in your life has enjoyed this with you but me. Why? I don't deserve that.
Let's go to the next page, please, and read the rest of the texts.
I said, don't I give you everything you want? What am I doing wrong? I feel like I do everything right by you and I still get lied to or I get treated less than. Why? Have we just taken things too far? And now you look down on me. You're breaking my heart by asking to be friends like I'm nothing to you.
Let's go to pages 14 and 15.
I don't deserve this, and you're going to miss me. Don't come looking for me. You're breaking my heart.
How did Sean respond?
He said, I'm not trying to do that.
What's the next text that Sean sent you?
He said, you just had a great dinner. Anything you asked me for, I've done. We'll miss each other.
When Sean wrote anything you asked me for, I've done. In your experience, was that true?
No.
What did you understand Sean was referring to when he told you you needed to get on your job?
I understood that. I understood that he had certain expectations of me and that I had to fulfill them.
What was your understanding of those expectations?
Taking care of him, being good to him, and just making sure that he's happy.
What did that include?
It included these nights.
And what did you understand Sean meant when he said he had been on my job? On his job?
I understood that he meant he felt that he was taking care of me financially.
And what did you understand Sean was communicating to you when he said he was going to disappear on you and you would have a rude awakening?
I understood that in that moment, I felt that I took that as I was pretty alarmed by this message. It was just really cold and it's true that at any moment he can just do that if he wanted to.
He can just do what?
Cut me off.
What did Sean write after sending you that audio message?
He said, oh yeah, and happy Sunday. Love.
Then going to the next page, what did you write in response?
I said, I've been on my job for 2.5 years. You just got on your job. I'm not the one to threaten. We can call this even and move on.
Take that down. And what did Sean say in response?
He said, even, and he says, get back into loving me now. Promises only, LOL.
Can we please go to pages 13 and 14? What did you write?
I wrote, you've been making things feel completely transactional lately and it's disheartening.
Then what did you write?
I said, you've been threatening me any chance you get. It's been a rude awakening and making me realize how you really view me. Nobody that really cares about you calls you a liar when you're sick, then comes home to send a threatening voice note over your livelihood. This is sick.
What were you referring to when you said you've been threatening me any chance you get?
I felt that at any given opportunity, Sean was just hovering the house over my head, just really always brought it up in so many ways that he was paying for it. And it just always felt like he wanted me to know that he was doing this for me all the time. And it felt like there was this, I don't know, this kind of guilt-tripping kind of feeling.
We can take this down. And can we read the next text you wrote, please?
I said, we can figure out some time to talk like adults. I just never thought when it was my time to fall sick, this is how I would be treated, especially after all the times I've been there for you.
What were you referring to when you said, especially after all the times I have been there for you?
Just me, just completely devoted into our relationship unconditionally.
What did Sean send you in response?
An audio message.
What did you write in response?
I said, how can I move on when you haven't even offered me a sincere apology for calling me a bitch and a liar because I was sick? You went from threatening me this morning to saying, let's move on in the afternoon. It's not okay.
What did Sean say in response?
He said, no, it was a promise, not a threat.
And what did you say?
I said, a promise of what? Disappearing on me. Please be clear. You have been a roller coaster of confusion.
What's the next text you sent?
I said, you know what? You don't see where you're wrong at, and you don't want to apologize for the hurtful things you said. It's cool. I'm sick and healing. I can't give any love right now. If anything, I need the love. I've realized a lot. I just want to be left alone and heal up.
Can we please pull up pages 17 and 18? What did you write next? Well, first, what did you send?
I sent him a screenshot of something that he had sent. A flower arrangement that he sent another woman, and the note attached to the flower arrangement.
Why did you send that to him?
Because as I see the note, I could see how sweet and loving the note was, and it just made me feel jealous.
Can you just read the first sentence of the text you sent after sending the card?
This is the card you can send someone else, but send me a dry-ass card.
What were you referring to?
I was referring to around this time I had a root canal, and he sent me some flowers. And my card was just very dry, like love or something like that.
Can we go to the next page, please? Or how did Sean respond, rather?
He said, bye.